we'll go ahead and have a convo with them as well.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, the idea has been just developing consistency.
Mhm.
And I think this is what we've been seeing.
Hold on, let me turn my volume down. Okay. Continue, Bubba. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just important that just the consistency, brother. And I think, we've been talking about this, behind the scene. But the fact is that if we can be consistent and bring quality programming to our community, I know our community has been very supportive of us. So I'm just happy that we've had another, this Sunday that we've had a chance to again come on and kind of share with the community about some of the things that that are taking place, and hopefully that we can, of course, invite them to, of course, continue to support and just be aware of, if nothing else, shared information.
Absolutely. No, I think it's a good opportunity for us to really just to slow down, talk to the people, talk to ourselves, have conversation amongst ourselves, and just review. So if people are joining us, we want to encourage you, if you have comments or questions or anything you all want to know, then just go ahead and type it in the chat, and we'll do our best to respond to all questions and comments. We appreciate feedback. Everything that you share with us helps us know that, well, first off, it helps us to grow, and then it gives us an opportunity to hear what people are thinking. So we encourage you, comments, questions, hit us with it. We're here to answer.
No doubt. Yeah. Brother, I wanted you to just kind of open up something for us this evening, because, we're coming from the Melaneyes Media Facebook page, and just explain the idea of Melaneyes, to
the people,
and Melaneyes Media name itself.
Absolutely. Well, the concept for Melaneyes Media, Melaneyes, the word Melanize, means to infuse with melanin or to blacken. We know that melanin is the chemical substance that gives us our skin pigmentation. And so our concept with Melaneyes Media is to infuse with melanin our eyes, because we play off the word melanin, but then we put EYES, because what we do is of a visual nature. We do films and videos that are primarily based on history and culture for us as a people, original people or Black people here in the wilderness of North America. However, all over the planet, we really try to touch the diaspora. Wherever we may exist, we are one people. So we strive to emphasize that, and we strive to let people know that there is a different way to look at things sometimes, other than the mentality or the vision that has been painted of us. We want to tell our own stories, and therefore paint our own picture of ourselves, so that we see ourselves clearly for who we are, not just who we appear to be. And that way we present our story to the world, and they see it from our perspective, as opposed to a view that is not for us, by us. So Melaneyes Media is a concept that Aundar and I came up with upon the production of our first film, Message to the People, A Story of Malcolm X. Now, the reason why I feel like that was such a great project for us is because Brother Malcolm, as we often say, his words are timeless. And there's so much relevance in what he said. That really was a marquee project for us, because it got us in the realm of really speaking to us, for us, by us. And so Melaneyes Media, we're independently owned Black company. We maintain the ownership of our projects. We want to just distribute them in a way that we maintain our voice. Our goal is really to maintain ownership so we can maintain our voice. We don't want to be compromised by a larger entity that may come in and want to dilute the message. It's really important that we stay authentic in our message, because ultimately, like we said, our goal is to give our stories for us, but also by us, and by us fully. We don't want to have to tone anything down. So going back to Message to the People, the story of Malcolm X, we didn't tone any of Malcolm's message down. We delivered it and people appreciated us doing it that way. And
No
so
doubt.
from Walk on the River, which was our second film that we released in August of 2018, just documenting the Black history of San Antonio, we really strive to bring forth that community vision and that community message, which is why we interview people from the community, our elders who could tell the story. And we allowed the elders to tell that story. We really just weaved in bits and pieces of factual information, but the elders of this community really told that story. And so then moving on to Walk on the River 2.0, the African influence here in San Antonio, uh, another thing that we did is we employ people who are very knowledgeable on the subject. We talk about and we discuss the African presence here in the Americas before Columbus. We
Yeah.
talk about the Moorish influence on the Spanish who then came and colonized this part of the world. We talk about the history of the Alamo and how so much of that had to do with the battle for slavery and independence for Texas was surrounded by the veil of the desire of the Texans to keep and maintain slavery. And so we also talk about the history of the Black Madonna and how that is basically an image of us. And we have Dr. Runoko Rashidi, who's a world-renowned historian. We have Mario Salas, who's a historian and a professor. Community members who continue to contribute to that conversation and really provide us with the facts. And we just built the film around the conversation that we had with them. But once again, this is us, original people, Black people, telling our own story in a way that's both educating and entertaining. And that's really our mission, is to educate ourselves. And if the broader society learns from that, that's great. But ultimately, what we first want to do is make sure that we ourselves are familiar with our own stories. And so we've chosen to use film or movies or video as the main way that we tell our story, because Baba, Aundar, and myself feel like it's an effective way to reach more people. We know that there are other means. We've also, experimented with lecture series and we do a Black History tour. However, with the movies, it really gives us the opportunity to reach and teach more people. So that's really our history. We want to continue to do that. It means so much to us to have the support of our community. People have been so extremely supportive of our projects. And one
Yes.
of the things, I can share is that message to the people. I mean, we started out, that was crowdfunded. We raised about
Yeah.
$2,500 for that. And that was
Yeah.
enough to get the ball rolling for us. So we
That's
were so
right.
happy and proud because people really showed up for us. And then our second project, Walk on the River, we were able to raise over $6,000 to put that film into motion, which was a huge success. And then on top of that, for the third project, Walk on the River 2.0, we were able to raise over $10,000 to put that one in motion. So we've been on the incline, just
Yeah.
progressively growing with the projects, with the funding, which makes the projects a little better. Each time
Yeah.
we get a chance to do a little more than what we did before and add a little spice to it. And we just want to continue to grow in this way. We just want to continue to create projects that are respectable, that are culturally enriching, that are knowledge-based, that continue to educate our people, that continue to push the envelope,
Mhm.
that continue to make our history more known to us so that we can deal with our present conditions
Yes.
in a different way and then move forward and have a blueprint for the future. In the spirit of Sankofa, just
That's
reaching
right.
back to our past, pulling it forward and really using what we pull forward to kind of project us into the future. Especially not just for us, but before our next generations. We hope that sometime in the future, our young people can see a true depiction of Brother Malcolm in his full regalia of his power and of his essence. We hope that future generations get a chance to see what Black San Antonio was, is, and could be in the future. We hope
That's
that from Walk on the River 2.0, people get a chance to see who we were before the enslavement period, because our history is so rich and our influence is so deep. You
yes.
can't even talk about world history and not speak about African history. our fingerprint is on everything. And so we wanted to be able to pull those jewels forward so that as young people start to think about how they want to move in future moves and future generations, they will have some substance from what has happened and know that none of this is new because there's nothing new under the sun. And they'll be able to take those jewels, those pieces of information, put together that puzzle and see a clear picture for themselves. So we just want to leave a legacy, and Baba Aundar and myself, I feel like we're blessed to have one another because we balance one another and we're passionate about what we do and we love what we do. And the community has empowered us to be able to do what we love. So that's I don't know if that was too much or too little, but there you go.
No, that's excellent, brother. I think you covered it all. I think you covered it all, but you gave the essence of Melaneyes media, and expanded it out. And I think that's beautiful, brother. And it's very profound because as you was talking, I mean, because it was just generating a lot of thoughts and ideas and seeing the value. You know, sometimes when you're doing things, of course, you're in the midst of it and you just hustling, you know, you're doing the things that make it happen. But you don't, sometimes it's important to kind of sit back and reflect on it. And of course, to make sure you're still keeping your bearing. And I think what you highlighted, just the fact is that we have stayed true to our commitment to bringing culture and history in our films and anything we're presenting. You know, I know you didn't go in depth, like even with the bus tour. I mean, we had started here in San Antonio, but I think it stays in line with what we are committed to. You just said the last little piece there that's also very important is the puzzle. And all of us have something to contribute to the overall putting together and makeup of the puzzle. And you talked about the elders that we interviewed and the scholars and the teachers. This is truly empowering because this is our story. And no one can tell our story better than us because we are the living aspect of that story. And I think the projects we have done have given voice to us. If it's the film on Brother Malcolm with the Walk on the River, it has given us an opportunity to give people a vision of what we saw and what we created and what we did and what we made. And, you know, as much as we're documenting history, we are in the midst of really making history because we're also trying to add our piece to that puzzle and invite people to take our piece and put it there and add their pieces to the puzzle. And I think what's evolving, at least for me, and showing is that, brother, the community is growing. It's being empowered because we are having greater knowledge of ourselves as a people. And it's like the story of Walk on the River, you know, Black history, Alamo City. I think it speaks to our sense of self-determination, our ability to create for self and kind. And I think it has also shown us not just of the past, but of the present, because, you know, I laugh about it sometimes because you had mentioned the fact of the funds we've raised because the community have been very supportive of this project. But I laugh because, you know, it's not like we don't have $1 million budget, brother. And we had talked about that a few times where we got to take what we have and we can do it because, first of all, the story is rich. Yep. You don't have to put the whistles, the bells, the flag. You don't have to. I mean, you can if that may be attractive and that may be entertaining. So it's nothing wrong with that. But if we don't have that, our story is so rich and so powerful, and we can use our creativity and our talent to make it entertaining. And I think that's what has also been so great about maybe the projects, because people have walked away not only feeling like they've learned something, that it's a professional. It's some professionalism there, and you see the quality there. So basically saying that I think we're just building on the legacy of those who have come before us, those who are elders here in the community. And I think we're contributing to what is yet to come, because I do see a rise of us as a people as we rise in our consciousness of our history. And as you mentioned in Sankofa, because I think now more than ever, we are starting to return to those things out of history and try to glean those great lessons and bring them forward. And of course, these projects have done that, you know, and engage in us and share something that hopefully our community help us to move forward, not only here in San Antonio, but worldwide. Because, you know, in the 2.0, I think we really open up, though we may narrow some of those things and bring them to what they look like here in San Antonio. You know, the Shrine of the Black Madonna is a worldwide thing that we're realizing that, hey, you go back to, well, you know, go back to Egypt or go back to Kemet, you're looking at Set and Heru, but you're looking at our history, and our history is worldwide. When we talk about the Olmec civilization, or we talk about the Moors, our history is connecting us, because we're connected here in San Antonio, but it's a worldwide connection. And I think that is why it's important to what, you know, what we have done. And we really appreciate the family, the community that have been very supportive of this, of these projects. You know, now if you could just kind of give some insight, because you kind of talked about the film and just threw in there with the bus tour, but just to kind of bring people up and give us an understanding of how did the bus tour, what is the bus tour, and how did it come into existence, and how has the bus tour impacted the community?
Absolutely. So in January of 2019, we implemented the Freedom Black History Bus Tour of San Antonio. And how that came about is because Walk on the River was a great success, so we were able to show it multiple times. And after each film showing, Baba Aundar and myself, we would hold Q&A sessions where people would ask us questions and make comments. And one of the questions or comments that continued to come up was, well, how can we see some of these historical locations that you mentioned in the movie? And at the time, we didn't have a great answer for that. But we sat down and we kind of went backwards to our original thoughts, because initially, before we started the film, Walk on the River, we were just going to do a bus tour. But we had put that aside because, like I said, we felt like the film could reach more people. But when we continued to get that question about the landmarks and locations, we decided to kind of bring that idea forward. And we sat down, we mapped out a couple of locations that we thought would be viable to show people, that we thought would be informational. And we set up where we would rent out a passenger bus, coach bus, 56 passengers. And so in January 26th of 2019, as part of the Dream Week celebration, we set up our first initial Freedom Black History bus tour. And so what happened, people would purchase their tickets, and they would be able to take either a 10 o'clock ride or a 1 p.m. ride. So 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. So we do 2 in one day. When we took out, when we rented the bus for that initial one, it sold out. Both trips were sold out. So by the time we got there, we had 2 full trips. People really seemed to enjoy it. We made up brochures that just kind of cover some of the locations that we traveled to. We passed them out. We went around primarily the east side of San Antonio to about 18 different locations. People really enjoyed it. They gave us feedback. They gave us suggestions of different things that we could cover. And we took all of that and just continued to run the tour. And up until the COVID-19, we were running the Freedom Black History bus tour probably once or every month or once every other month, depending on demand. So we hosted those for the public. But what happened was institutions and organizations started reaching out to us asking if we did private tours. So then we started incorporating private tours into the mix, and we had the opportunity to do tours with the Theta Eta sorority, with the San Antonio Museum of Art, with the Jack and Jill Foundation here in the city of San Antonio, and also a few family reunions that had came to the city. So it started being where people were requesting private tours, and we were also running public tours, and it was going really well, and we're continuing with that. Right before the pandemic had hit, Baba Aundar and myself, as a company, Melaneyes Media, we actually had purchased an electric vehicle, about a 12-passenger electric vehicle that we were going to start running the tour, just on the east side primarily, and just showing people on a smaller scale some of the history and the landmarks and locations. And so we've been very successful with the tours. People keep asking us. We're still getting calls and emails about it now, even though we have not been able to host any physical tours with the pandemic. We've been doing virtual tours where we've been able to show people some of the locations and landmarks that we visit here in San Antonio, just through slideshows, via Zoom, and just using photos and videos to try to paint that picture for people. So it's something that we're continuing to work on. We're going to continue to expand, how we do it virtually, but hopefully very soon we'll be able to get back out into the public. Maybe not at the large capacity that we have been doing them at, but we still want to physically be able to travel throughout the city and show people some of the historic locations that have shaped the Black community here in San Antonio. And another thing that we wanted to share is that we're also planning to expand the tour out. So we have a primary tour that we do that travels primarily on the east side, but we've expanded and we want to expand out to do a secondary east side tour because there's so many locations we don't get a chance to share. So we want to have an expanded tour of the east side. We're tossing around the idea of doing a downtown tour because there are significant African-American landmarks that are downtown in San Antonio. And we also want to expand to the west side because if you've seen Walk on the River, you know that there was a significant Black community on the west side of town. So those are kind of our goals for 2020, is really to expand the tour out to different parts of the city because it helps to educate people about our history. Not only that, but a lot of these locations are in danger of being erased or demolished.
Yes.
So we feel that if we can alert the public, let people know how important some of these locations are to our history, then hopefully we can do more to preserve them for future generations so that they're not demolished and torn down and the history had never been documented. So we want to do our best to document the history of these places so that we can spread awareness so that more people are aware, so that if they ever come under the danger of being demolished or torn down, at least someone can say, hey, wait, that's an important place. We might want to look at holding on to that. So that's one of our missions and goals, and we just hope that people get an opportunity to experience the tours with us, whether it be virtually or in person. Our Facebook page, Freedom Black History Bus Tour Facebook page, is available. You can like that page. You can join our email list from that page. And I'll also put it in the chat here so that people can have an opportunity to experience the tour, whether it be virtually or in person.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And I think that's so important, and I mean, when we had, of course, started doing the virtual tours because of the COVID-19 and, of course, the quarantine, but I think the opportunity it shared was at least expose people that's outside the San Antonio area. And I know of people that had been on with us during that time have been reaching out, and we've had people, I guess, recently reach out from other parts of the country that are interested in the tour. But the thing I really thought about as you was talking about the tour, how valuable it is, especially for those brothers and sisters who are relocating here to San Antonio. And that has been a good percentage of our ridership on the tours, people who have been here maybe less than 5 years, maybe less than 10 years, maybe just got here recently. Yeah. But the idea is that it's a way to introduce people to the city and to some of the significant landmarks and to the history. And what we're finding is that people who are coming on the tour may not have even seen the film yet. And they're just joining in on the tour, and then they find out about the film. And of course, they've been very supportive, and they get the film and they watch that. But the idea is that they go on the tour, and we travel this path, this route, go to these locations, and we see these landmarks, and we share the history, because, you know, we always say it's people that make history. The landmarks are significant because of the people and what they did there at that landmark. So what I think is been very appreciated by the community and for those who have taken the tour is that they're learning so much, but it gives them a chance to, you know, brother, it's like when you learn something, you feel a greater connection to it. And you have a great appreciation for it. And therefore you feel like you become part of the city, let's say, or you become part of that community. And I think that is something that may be happening also, is that people get a chance to take the tour and they feel like, okay, it's like these same things may have been a part of the history of where they're coming from, you know, because we have said often that the history that we document here in San Antonio is the history that can be told in many of the cities and towns across America, particularly in the South, concerning Black people. So people come here and they take the tour and they be like, well, yeah, we had a high school like, you know, Wheatley, you know. We had a hospital like the Whittier Clinic, you know what I mean? But it connects them to the community here. And I think it has contributed greatly to making people feel in a way at home, if you can, see that idea. And I want us to continue to build on that, because what you also said is that it's not just the East Side where we were concentrated and where we was concentrated on the East Side, but we just didn't live on the East Side. We was throughout the city. And everywhere we were located, we made a contribution. And I think that's the thing that we also want to share as we continue to kind of expand on these tours. So, no, I think that was a great thing that you just pointed out, how this tour came into existence and how, we've been running the tours and how people have been impacted. And last thing on this, brother, it's the number of people. Because when I looked at, when we looked at the numbers, I think it's probably about 1,100 people have taken the tour.
Wow.
Because we documented all the private tours, the public tours, the 10 o'clock run and the 1 o'clock run. We had calculated about over 1,100 people. And I mean, that's a good number.
Yeah.
You think about it, brother, that have been exposed to this information. And even people who grew up, were born and raised in San Antonio, have taken the tour and felt like, okay, this gives them a chance to reminisce, to reflect on their own history here. And it gives them a chance to maybe be exposed to some things that they did not know that took place here, even as they was growing up. So I just want us to, of course, as we continue to, share this information, help people to understand that this is a great opportunity for us to come together, to have these kind of dialogues, because, when we're on the bus, we laugh some, we smile, we relax, but we're learning and we're growing together, and it feels like a community gathering where we're sharing with each other. And I think that has been one of the great, benefits for me, because I feel like, once we even get off the bus, it's like, our family members are just dispersing and just going, but we've made a connection, basically.
No, I mean, I agree with you, brother. I think about one of the last tours that we were able to give before the pandemic hit. I was with the Jack and Jill Foundation, which was mostly youth. And so to see them answering questions and paying attention, and they were still eating their snacks, but they were still listening. So I really enjoyed that. And I feel like that's really a testament to what we do. And I feel like also we build such connections with the people that we have a chance to serve, because that's how I view it, is that we serve
Yes.
the community, and we are able to build such great relationships because of that. And it's fun for us. I mean, I always have a good time, and it seems like the people do too. So hey,
Yeah.
I mean, if you learn something
So,
and walk away with a smile, I mean, you can't beat that.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Now, it's one other thing I did want us to kind of just touch on, brother, because I think this, what we've been doing this 7 consecutive Sundays, basically, because we
Yeah.
did, of course, last week on a Tuesday to celebrate Brother Malcolm and show our film. But just the fact of the consistency and what this has afforded us an opportunity to do also, and to reach out to our community, to stay connected to some extent, and to even broaden our community, because this technology, this network has created an opportunity for us to reach people beyond the borders of San Antonio.
Absolutely.
And I think when we look at this, I just want to ask you maybe some of the thoughts since we've started this process, some of the things you have seen that have really come out of this that is maybe can give us maybe a vision of the future.
Absolutely. So for, as Baba Aundar said, for 7 Sundays at least, it may be one more, I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody in
Yeah.
the comments will correct us if we're wrong. But for the past 7 weeks, on the Sunday at 7, except for last week, because like the brother said, we celebrated Malcolm on his born day, which was Tuesday. But we've been hosting either a screening of a film, a discussion, or watching something with our community here on Sundays. And so we've been using the Zoom platform. We've done some of them on Facebook. Right now we're on Facebook Live, but we also have just held some of these gatherings just on Zoom. And it has really been an eye-opening experience for us. We've been able to show message to the people. We've been able to show Walk on the River. We've been able to show Walk on the River 2.0. One time we sat down and did a virtual tour. Another opportunity we had is that we watched an interview of Malcolm X from 1963, and we're able to have a very vibrant and colorful discussion after that. So what we're striving to do is just be consistent as we can with this, is that every Sunday we have an opportunity to go live, to connect with you all, to hear your thoughts, to share information and get feedback. And so it's been a way for us to keep the ball rolling financially, because some of these have been paid occurrences where we've been able to keep the finances moving so that we can handle our operations as an independent company. Some of them have been free, which gives us an opportunity just to hear feedback and listen to what people may want to see or hear from us, which guides us in the future as we start to determine what our next projects will be. It also gives us an opportunity to grow our platform. Because we can do these things virtually, we're not limited to San Antonio. So we've had a viewership from Atlanta, from Dallas, from Houston, from New York, from Washington, D.C., from Chicago, and I think even Miami, where people have joined us, chimed in, been able to give us feedback. We've been able to make connections with different people who work for universities and institutions that might be interested in the type of products and films that we put together. So it's helped us to expand our network and also be swift and changeable, because as a small company, you need to be able to go with the flow and adjust to the times. And so we don't have 100 employees that we got to shift, from one space to another. So it's allowed us to go with the flow. The pandemic has showed us that online can really be a viable option for us, when before in spots we may not have seen that it could be this viable. We didn't necessarily see this in our future. However, it's shown us that we can actually show one of our films online, get people to participate in reserved seating, watch it, and then also comment and have conversation with us afterwards, which has been very enlightening for us. And it gives us a broader scope of what we're able to do. So it has helped us to understand that we can go outside of Texas, we can go outside of San Antonio, the message is still viable, and that people are still interested, and that it's a way for us to connect and build our community across the map. So it's been a beautiful experience for us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, I think this is, of course, you know, we had talked about this was important, I think, to just take this opportunity this evening to kind of just bring people forward, because sometimes it's important to look back to where we started. And of course, we got a long way to go, and we got a lot of things that we are really having head and heart that we want to do. But just to take a pause to look back and to glean those things that we have gained from this experience, how we've been able to, how people have touched us and supported us, at the same time, how we created projects that have impacted the lives of other people. And I think if we, you know, as we started off, stay consistent and just stay true to our commitment to bringing, you know, the history, the culture, and being authentic and speaking our voice and showing it from our perspective and understanding as a people. We have something to offer, and people have shown that they appreciate it. Now, I do want to just say now the date for the next showing, because I think we really want our community to join in with us, you know, to continue this process and be supportive and you know, take what we have to offer.
Absolutely. So May 31st, next Sunday, we'll be screening once again Message to the People, Story of Malcolm X, which is our first film. We noticed with the onset of the documentary on Netflix about who killed Malcolm X, we noticed that that started somewhat of an activity on our Facebook page. And we hadn't always thought about showing Message to the People as fluidly and actively as we had in the past. But that's a fault on our past. You know, we've seen it a lot and we had shown it a lot, but that doesn't mean that the demand had died down. And so with the resurgence of that documentary, we started noticing that people were tuning in and tapping into our page. And what we had started deciding to do was just release it more and show it more. And so it's been a huge success. People have really enjoyed that film. And even though in our area, we've had the opportunity to show it to a good amount of people, we realize the nation as a whole is a wide open territory for us. And the online platform for Zoom is really making that possible for us. So we're really just striving to expand our audience base for Message to the People, because like we said, the words of Malcolm are timeless. The situations that we're going through and some of the things that we're seeing in the media with the police shootings, he addressed all of that back in the 60s. So his words never ever get old or stale. So it's never a point where it's not relevant. And realizing that, I think that we're just striving to expand his words and his message to more people. And especially this film, because it's a very unique style. So Baba Aundar plays Malcolm X in character, does an excellent job, and people have really appreciated that. So this coming Sunday, May 31st at 7 p.m., we will be screening that film once again, Message to the People, Story of Malcolm X. You can purchase your tickets via Eventbrite. And how we have it set up is that it's through what we call the honor system. So we trust the people, we trust our audience. What you choose to pay for your ticket is totally up to you. You could pay $1. We've had people give $1, and we're fine with that. We've had people give $100, and we're fine with that as well. But the thing that we've learned is to trust the process and to trust us. And ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're allowing you to choose whatever you feel that is worth to you. And we don't treat anybody differently depending on what they give or what they donate. It is pretty much across the board. Everyone gets access as long as you donate something. And we've been very successful with that pattern, and we're going to continue with that honor system, because ultimately the people show up for us and they support us. And as long as the people support us, we will continue to support the people and provide an opportunity to see the projects that we're working on. So Message to the People coming up May 31st. After that, we'll have another showing for Walk on the River 2.0. So we're just prepping to continue to be consistent with our online presence. So hopefully, if you all are available on those dates, please get your tickets and RSVP, and we have a really lively conversation afterwards. So we look forward to the Q&A, and that's, I mean, the questions and the comments are what fuel it. I mean, people really get creative in there, so we appreciate it.
No, excellent. No, and that's powerful, because I think just the fact, and I keep saying, just being consistent, but just having a good quality program, brother. And I do appreciate you bringing up the fact that it's an honor system, you know, and people have shown that they want to support our programming, they want to support us, and we really appreciate it. You know, anytime we have an audience and they join in with us, we've found it very, you know, exciting, very inspiring, stimulating, because like you say, the dialogue is rich to me. I think the comments that are shared, the ideas that are shared, we read through the comments, we try to respond if there's a questions or even comments, and it just creates an opportunity for us as a community, again, to realize that we have to come together. Absolutely. And we need to come together as often as possible. And we're just trying to create at least an opportunity where we contribute to us coming together and providing some quality content. And I think what we have created and with the films have been definitely quality in content and have been educational, and it's been shown that people appreciate it. So I want us to just you know, invite, as you have already said, I just extend that invitation with you, brother, that we invite the brothers and sisters to come and join us, and see, if nothing else, let's look at each other's face, or look at it, you know, wave, and, you know, and let each other know that we're out here and that we are still in heart, you know, because when I look back, brother, you know, I think we had just shown, actually premiered our film, the 2.0, on the February the 29th. And we had an excellent turnout. The community was there, strong. I mean, and it was just beautiful, you know, to have that presence, because we was in the theater, it had people, you know, it just brings warmth to me, brother. And I realized is that it was the film, because the film had the content, but it was just a gathering of us as a people. And, you know, when this pandemic hit, we was really questioning how this was going to work out for us, because as other people, we didn't see where we was going to be able to physically come together. Right. But what this has done for us, and hopefully maybe for other people, we have seen how we can come together. It may not be in large numbers, but maybe one day we will be in large numbers like that, as in the theaters. But nevertheless, it has created an opportunity for us to come together, to kind of talk to each other, to share with each other, to, you know, to inspire each other, and just to continue this important dialogue. Because in the final analysis, we need to have knowledge of ourselves. I mean, and we need to come together to share what we have learned, because as much as we may share with others, people are sharing with us, and we're learning. So we're all in this, you know, environment, this community of sharing. And what I find is that as we share and we grow together, we become more empowered community. And now we can take that to another level. And that level is to be determined, but we see it happening right before our eyes, is that we are coming together. So I don't want us to let this opportunity, you know, slip away from us. I want us to just stay consistent. All of us, you know, what we're doing here with Melaneyes Media and other brothers and sisters are doing on other platforms, but bringing us together to have these dialogues, to share this information. Because when we finally come out of this, one thing we should is have more knowledge about ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's been good, brother. I mean, I don't know if we had any brothers and sisters been able to join us this evening, but this has been good for me. Just to kind of here reflect on the past
Yeah.
and see the journey we have gone through, brother. Yes, it's inspiring, you know.
Indeed. We did have one comment from Miss April Dixon. She was saying that the film showings have been excellent and inspiring. So we appreciate that comment. She's a
Beautiful.
staunch supporter. She's there with us all the time. So we appreciate that.
No doubt. And that's the other thing too. I mean, we have, we have in a way kind of built up a community of people who are pretty much have walked this journey with us,
Yes.
even particularly before this past 7 weeks just being here on Sunday. Before that time, we've had some supporters that have, been with us from Malcolm
Yep.
and through the Walk on the River 2.0
Yeah.
to the bus tour.
Yeah.
So I feel that we really have, in some way, brought us together and been able to share something. And when people see that you are, I think you have something worthy and valuable, people will support it. And we have been shown that people see what we have contributed, and to whatever extent has been worthy of their support. And it's been beautiful. It's been a beautiful process for me, just to witness how the community have been, really pushing us forward, and being that support for us.
Yeah. Now, people have definitely showed up and showed out. I mean, people have given us a thumbs up. People have given us words of encouragement. People have supported us and given financially. And through whatever has taken place, we've been able to stand tall. And it's because of the people. I mean, none of
Yes.
this would be possible without our supporters. I mean, I'm never ceased to be amazed at uh, how people show up for what we're doing.
Yes.
And they show up ready to put a hand in and help. Um, they show up willing to assist in whatever way possible.
Yes.
And it just reminds me that you don't need 100,000 people to be successful. You just need a group of dedicated people, and the people that help us and support us are so supremely dedicated on the mission with us. They care as much as we do about our story and about this history.
That's right.
And I mean, we cannot ask for a greater group of supporters. I mean, the people that have helped us have become family. I mean, they have really
Yeah.
stepped up and extended a hand and open arms to us. And I mean, we can't say enough
Yeah, I know
about the
that's right,
people. I
brother.
mean, the people,
I know
yeah,
that's right, brother.
they love it. So that's why we're still here.
I know that's right. That's good. No, but it's been good, my brother. It really has. I mean, and I thank you for taking this, for us walking together, brother, on this journey. These past weeks and before that, this time.
Yeah.
So I really have enjoyed, the things that we're reflecting on, and just some of the insight that you have shared just in this journey and some of the history. So that's been good. And I think as people may get a chance to kind of look back at this, they'll get a chance to not only see the past, but also can give us and see our vision.
Absolutely.
Because our vision is ultimately to continue to produce those kind of products, films, or whatever we choose, but products that really come through our eyes, our vision as Melaneyes people, of people of African descent, that comes from us. And I believe, brother, is that if we continue to make the quality products that we can offer our brothers and our sisters in the larger community, people are walking away feeling like they are seeing something maybe new, or they're seeing something in a different light.
Yes.
And I think that's important for us and for the larger community in the world. But it comes down to the fact that we're going to have to tell that story, and we're going to have to tell it from our vision so other people can maybe see the greater vision.
Mhm.
So
Indeed.
this has been good.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. And so we're going to make this available to our Facebook group. We'll make it available to our email list. Strive to share with as many people that we have contact with, because we're always looking for feedback and positive reinforcement for things that we need to look at or do. So Baba Aundar, I want to thank you for spending your Sunday with us tonight.
Brother, I appreciate it. Brother, I look forward to I look forward to the Sundays now,
No doubt.
And I think that's good,
Indeed.
So let's continue to build on this, brother.
Absolutely.
And we put the word out there, and I think the community is going to grow, and we're going to grow, and the community is going to grow with
Absolutely.
us.
Indeed. Well, you have a good evening, brother. Give my love to the family.
Yeah, likewise, brother. And y'all continue that celebration, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Peace.
then. All right, peace.